The world ended in a roar of sound and a cloud of dust. In the split second before the factory boiler exploded, my only instinct was to save her. I threw all my weight into shoving Chloe away from the collapsing structure. Her eyes widened in shock, a look I'd rarely seen on her face, just before the world fell on top of me. When they finally pulled my body from the wreckage, I was a broken mess of blood and bone. The frantic shouting of the rescue workers faded into a dull buzz, but Chloe's face remained perfectly, cruelly clear. I knew I was dying. With the last bit of air in my lungs, I had to ask the question that had haunted our 30-year marriage. "Chloe," I rasped, tasting blood, "did you ever love me?" Her expression, so composed even now, didn't flicker. It remained as cold and distant as it had always been. She avoided my gaze, looking somewhere over my shoulder. "Just hold on, Liam. The paramedics are on their way." A bitter, pained smile stretched my lips. That was it. That was my answer. She couldn't even grant me a simple lie, a small comfort as I died. She didn't love me, not even a little. As the last flicker of life left my body, that coldness was the last thing I saw. And then I opened my eyes again. I wasn't under a pile of rubble. I was in a grand ballroom, the air thick with the celebratory hum of hundreds of conversations. I stared in disbelief at my hands, whole and unbloodied, then at the familiar faces around me. I was back at my college graduation ceremony. Somehow, impossibly, I had been reborn. Across the room, Chloe stood in an elegant black designer dress, effortlessly commanding the attention of university deans and corporate recruiters. In my previous life, I had dedicated everything to her, turning my own existence into a tragic joke. Now, given a miraculous chance to do it all over, I made a silent vow. I would stay away from Chloe. Our paths would not cross again. Just as the thought solidified, in my mind, a heavy hand slapped my back. My roommate, Ben, grinned at me, wiggling his eyebrows. "Liam, my man, weren't you just saying you were going to confess to the Ice Queen herself today? You even wrote that epic love letter. What are you waiting for? You've been chasing her for 4 years, and with Ethan finally deciding to study abroad, now's your moment. Don't blow it." I stared blankly at him, my mind still reeling. Instinctively, I reached into my jacket pocket. My fingers brushed against the crisp edges of an envelope and the cool metal of a small jewelry box. It was true. In my last life, this was the exact moment I had planned to confess my love to Chloe. Chloe was a physics prodigy, a legend in our department. Before graduation, she was already making waves with her research. She and Ethan were considered the twin stars of our year, and everyone assumed they were a package deal. When Ethan suddenly announced he was leaving for a program overseas, leaving Chloe behind, the gossip mill went into overdrive. She was labeled the one who was abandoned. I couldn't stand it. I thought Ethan was a fool for not seeing what he had, and I wanted the world to see how incredible Chloe was. So I had planned this grand confession, fully prepared for public humiliation if she rejected me, just to ask her to be my girlfriend. To my utter astonishment, she had agreed. That agreement led to a 30-year marriage that felt more like a prison sentence. Chloe wasn't just a genius. She was stunningly beautiful and fiercely ambitious, the quintessential career woman. My family and friends all said I'd won the lottery marrying her. I used to believe them, but my last life taught me a harsh lesson. Chloe wasn't my blessing. She was my punishment. For 3 decades she was my wife, but her heart was always with Ethan. She fulfilled her duties flawlessly, a perfect wife and daughter-in-law on paper, but her spirit was never with me. I never saw genuine emotion on her face, never heard a true, unrestrained laugh. It was as if her soul had packed its bags and left with him. Our marriage was a hollow shell. Thankfully, I now had the chance to rewrite my fate. "What love letter?" I responded to Ben, trying to sound casual. Don't be ridiculous. Chloe and I are just classmates. I didn't realize that Chloe herself had finished her conversations and was now standing right behind me. She held a glass of champagne, her eyebrow arched in suspicion. "What love letter?" she asked, her voice cool. Before I could formulate a reply, Ben, ever the helpful wingman, betrayed me with a conspiratorial wink. "Liam here was just saying he's madly in love with you and was about to confess." He snatched the letter and box from my pocket and thrust them into Chloe's hands. "He's just a bit shy, so I'm giving him a little push. Don't be too hard on him, Chloe." The jewelry box popped open, revealing a delicate platinum necklace with a 4-leaf clover charm. I lunged to take it back. "No, don't listen to him. That's for someone else." As I tried to stammer out an excuse, I saw something that stopped me cold. Chloe's lips curved into a genuine smile, revealing faint dimples. "Thank you, Liam. I really like the necklace," she said. "As for the letter, I'll take it home and read it later." I was utterly stunned. In my previous life, even when she agreed to date me, she had refused the gifts. She was always so indifferent. I'd plan elaborate surprises for holidays and birthdays, but she never showed a flicker of happiness, always dismissing them as childish and a waste of time. I had thought it was just her personality, but now I knew the truth. She resisted my affection because she didn't feel any for me. Yet here she was, accepting my gift and smiling at me. An inexplicable sense of dread washed over me, a panic that this deviation from the past could signal a different, perhaps worse, danger. I composed myself and gently took the letter back from her hand. "I'm sorry," I muttered. "This really is for someone else. It has nothing to do with you." Chloe's smile vanished, and for a fleeting moment I thought I saw a flash of pain in her normally icy eyes. I felt a pang of guilt and lowered my head, unable to meet her gaze. Thankfully, another classmate, Sarah, chose that moment to intervene. Sarah had a crush on me, but in my past life, my obsession with Chloe had rendered me blind to anyone else. Today, she saw her last chance before we all went our separate ways. She grabbed my arm, pulling me away from Chloe and confessing her feelings right then and there. "Liam, she began, but I was speechless. To be honest, Sarah wasn't my type. She never made my heart race. But after 30 years of a loveless marriage, I understood that a racing heart was a fleeting illusion. Love had to be mutual, or it just became a source of pain. Before I could find the words to let her down gently, Sarah interrupted me. "I know you don't feel the same way right now, and that's okay. I'm willing to wait. You don't have to reject me right away. Just take your time and think about it." After the ceremony, as we were leaving the hotel, I saw Chloe by the roadside, saying her goodbyes. A strange mix of emotions churned inside me. From this point on, our lives would diverge. She would follow her brilliant career. Maybe she'd find a new boyfriend. Maybe she'd wait for Ethan to return. Whatever she did, it would no longer involve me. We were like two lines that had crossed and were now heading in opposite directions, destined to grow further and further apart. I never expected to see her the very next day, sitting in my father's office at his company. I was so stunned I just stood there, unable to process what was happening. In my last life, our small family company had tried to recruit a talent like Chloe, but we could never compete with the major corporations. She only ended up with us because she had agreed to be my girlfriend. But this time I had taken the confession back. So why was she here? As I walked in, she glanced at me. I noticed she was wearing the 4-leaf clover necklace. Her attention shifted back to my father as she extended a hand. "Those are my terms," she said confidently. "If you can agree to them, I would be happy to work for you." My dad was beaming, waving me over enthusiastically. "Liam, what are you doing just standing there? Starting today, Chloe is our company's new general manager, and you'll be working as her assistant." I was shocked. Why? I blurted out. Chloe answered with a perfectly straight face. Because one of my conditions for staying was that you become my assistant. I turned to my father, upset. Dad, how could you agree to that without even asking me? He glared at me. Why would I need to ask you? I've worked my fingers to the bone to put you through college. If you were capable enough to stand on your own 2 feet, I wouldn't need to rely on Chloe now, would I? She turned down offers from massive companies to join us. This is a blessing for our family. From now on, you will learn everything you can from her, and stop making your mother and me worry. I didn't understand why Chloe was doing this. The script of my life had completely changed. Faced with my father's unyielding expression, I reluctantly agreed. The office was buzzing with the news. On her first day, the new genius manager had turned the boss's son into her personal assistant. To keep her, my dad had even given her a private office. When I went inside, I saw that my desk had been placed right next to hers. The proximity felt oppressive. Move my desk out of here, I told the staff who were arranging the furniture. I'm just an assistant. I shouldn't be in the manager's office. Chloe's cold voice stopped them. Why not? Your father wants you to learn from me. You'll work directly under my supervision, so I can see what you're doing and teach you. In my past life, I had no interest in the family business, whereas Chloe was a natural. While my parents lamented my idleness, she was already closing deals and bringing in major projects. Their highest praise for me was that I had managed to marry such a capable woman. In her presence, I always felt worthless. Can I refuse? I asked, the thought of facing her frosty demeanor every day feeling like a recurring nightmare. She seemed to have me cornered, and a slight smirk played on her lips. No, protests are futile. I thought I was seeing things. Was she actually smiling at me? Later that day, a message from Ben popped up on my computer. Heard Chloe started at your company. You two together now? Dude, that love letter must have worked some magic. I glanced at the necklace she was still wearing and typed back 3 words. Get lost. I couldn't stand seeing it on her. Can you give me the necklace back? I asked. She stopped typing. Give it back? Do you normally ask for gifts back? I felt my face flush. It wasn't for you. She turned away. Oh, then who was it for, Sarah? She asked, as if she knew everything. As far as I know, she doesn't like 4-leaf clovers, but you know who does. She was always so confident, so in control. I knew if I pushed too hard, she might just tell my dad she was quitting, and I'd be in deep trouble. A little while later, she stood up and placed something on my desk. It was a scarf, hand-knitted and a little lopsided. A memory surfaced. When we were dating, I had been envious of other guys whose girlfriends knitted them things. When I mentioned it, she called me boring and said she was too busy. Now, here was this scarf. It's summer, I said awkwardly. Can't you wait until winter to wear it? She replied without turning around. But the knitting is all crooked, I pointed out. She spun around, her eyes flashing with displeasure. What's wrong with how it's knitted? You'd better not complain. She was treating me like her boyfriend, a fantasy that would have thrilled the old me. But I knew better now. This woman was an actress. She could play the part of a caring wife and a devoted daughter-in-law, while her heart remained a locked vault. After 30 years, I never saw love in her eyes. In my final moments, all I got was an evasion. I was done. Chloe, I said, my voice steady, I admit I used to like you, but I don't anymore. It's like a pile of cold ash. There's no warmth left. I'm not interested in you. At home, my mom called. A friend had set me up on a blind date. Mom, I'm not in a hurry to date, I protested. She wouldn't hear of it. It's my friend's daughter. You're going. Left with no choice, I agreed. As I was leaving the office, Chloe stopped me. Liam, you can't go on that date. You have me now. I pushed her hand away. I already told you how I feel. I drove to the cafe my mom had sent me, and to my surprise, the person waiting for me was Sarah. She winked. I told you I wouldn't give up. Before we could even order, I saw Chloe standing in the doorway. She had followed me. Seeing me with Sarah, her eyes turned red. She clutched the necklace at her throat. You really meant this for her? I couldn't meet her gaze. I told you it wasn't for you. Her eyes filled with tears. If you didn't love me, why did you save me during the earthquake? My mind went blank. She was reborn, too. Before I could react, she pulled a small knife from her purse and slashed it across her wrist. Liam, she said, her smile brilliant and terrifying. Do you want to know how much it hurts to watch the one you love die? Blood splattered onto the floor. My heart seized. I rushed to her, grabbing her wrist, my hands shaking. Are you insane? I yelled. She just smiled, raising her bloody hand to my cheek. I knew it, she whispered. You still care about me. I ignored her, fumbling for my phone to call an ambulance. In the hospital room, she looked pale and small. She called out my name in a nightmare-fueled panic. And when she saw me, relief washed over her. She hugged me tightly. Don't ever leave me again. I gently pushed her away. Chloe, we tormented each other enough in our last life. Fate gave us a do-over. Let's just let each other go. She frowned. Set you free? To be with her? I looked away. I won't be with you. You should go find Ethan. You'll have a better future with him. My heart ached as I saw the familiar pain in her eyes, the pain of loving someone who had left her behind. Sarah is a great girl, I lied. My parents like her. Maybe I can find happiness with her. Take care of yourself, Chloe. I left the hospital and immediately called Sarah to apologize, telling her it wouldn't work out. Lying to Chloe was one thing, but I couldn't drag Sarah into this mess. I wouldn't inflict the pain of unrequited love on someone else. I ended up at a bar, drinking until the world was a blurry mess. The next thing I knew, I was waking up in Chloe's house. A smell of cooking drew me to the kitchen, where I saw a sight I'd never witnessed in 30 years of marriage. Chloe was trying to cook. She, who could solve the most complex physics equations, was completely lost facing a pan of vegetables. She burned her arm on splattering oil, overcooked the first batch, and oversalted the second. After nearly a dozen attempts, she finally produced something edible. She turned and saw me standing there. It's late, she said quietly. Let's eat. I was about to refuse when she added, It's been a long time since we had a meal together. We ate in silence. Her eyes were red. I realize now how much I got wrong, she mumbled. I ignored your feelings. I want to experience it all again, to see what being your wife really feels like. Will you give me another chance? I couldn't. No, I said, and left. I quit my job the next day. My dad called me a useless son. My mom, who had once warned me against Chloe, was now singing her praises. I ignored them and started a research project with some friends. My real passion wasn't business, it was science. In my past life, a massive earthquake had devastated our city. I wanted to develop a new, ultra-strong building material to prevent that from happening again in 30 years. Of course, Chloe found me at our small, makeshift lab. You really think you can develop new anti-seismic materials with these resources? She asked, seeing through our plans instantly. My dad had cut me off financially. She offered to help smooth things over, but I refused. I had to cut ties. She was poison to me. For days I heard nothing. Then, I snuck back to the office and learned she had gone abroad, supposedly to see Ethan. That was it. That was what I wanted, right? I had just been a pawn in her long-running drama with him. I spent the next 2 weeks in a haze, working by day and drinking by night. Sarah found me at the bar one evening. The Liam I know isn't this pathetic, she said, snatching my drink. Go after her. Bring her back. I shook my head drunkenly. I don't like her. Sarah rolled her eyes. You can lie to yourself, but you can't lie to your heart. I never expected Chloe to come back, let alone with Ethan and his entire research team in tow. She had somehow convinced my father to invest billions into our project. After the meeting, she stopped me in the hall, a laugh bubbling up. What's so funny? I grumbled. I heard life was pretty tough for you while I was away, she said. I was perfectly happy, I shot back. Well, I wasn't, she said, her voice soft. Every minute I was gone, I missed you. I stared at her. Chloe never spoke like that. What's so shameful about saying I love my husband? She asked innocently. Who's your husband? I snapped. She blinked. You are. Your parents have already agreed. Once we develop the new material, they'll announce our marriage. She saw my stunned expression, and her tone turned serious. Liam, I'm doing this because I've liked you from the very beginning. She told me about the first day of college. My family wasn't wealthy then, and I showed up in shabby clothes. A group of wealthy girls made fun of me, calling me a country bumpkin. It was Liam who had stepped in, defending me and helping me with my luggage. I started liking you the moment you reached out to me, she confessed, tears welling in her eyes. But your family would have never accepted me back then. I knew I had to become someone they couldn't refuse, someone worthy of standing by your side. That's why I was so cold, so focused. I wanted to be your rightful wife, not just some girl you were playing around with. She finally cried, something I'd never seen in all the years I'd known her. Even after we got married, I was so scared of losing you that I kept pushing myself, trying to be the perfect wife and daughter-in-law. I thought that would secure our love. She closed her eyes, thinking of the earthquake. When you died, saving me, my world ended. I died not long after you did. And then I was reborn, too. My heart felt like it was being torn apart. I took her hand. I thought you went abroad for Ethan. She sighed. Who keeps spreading those rumors? Ethan and I are just partners. He has a girlfriend. I went abroad to recruit his team. Didn't you always want to stop that disaster? I want to help you. She looked at me, her face stained with tears. In our last life, I couldn't keep you. This time, let's do it together, okay? Looking into her eyes, all the pain and misunderstandings of 2 lifetimes melted away. I pulled her into my arms, holding her tight. Our unspoken love had cost us a lifetime. This time I wouldn't let go.